The best SSD's gaming advantages over hard drives were mainly focused on cutting load times. A worthy pursuit, but following the release of multiple games that are either held back or rotted to death by HDD performance, having an ample supply of solid-state storage looks more necessary with every passing day. To help you find the right model, we've listed the top 5 SSDs for gaming and their key features, plus the things you need to consider to help you choose the best one for you. As always, you can check pricing for any of these products in the description below. Like the video, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Now let's get started. Number 5. Crucial P3. The best SSD for pure PCI 3.0 speed. Even it doesn't match the WD Black SN850X on overall value, there's still a good reason to choose the Crucial P3 instead. In certain scenarios, it's the outright fastest PCI 3.0 SSD we've tested. Like its PCI 4.0 cousin, the P3 Plus, the P3 is a particularly pacey writer, even outperforming some 4.0 SSDs, with its Crystal Disk Mark write speed result of 3022 megabytes/. But it's also impressively effective in the kind of tricky read tasks that games rely on, as seen in its excellent as SSD 4K read speed of 57.9 megabytes/s. When the time came to load up Shadow of the Tomb Raider, it did so in just 7.5s, a mere fraction of a second slower than the P3 Plus 7.3s, and faster than any other PCI 3.0 SSD so far. If you've yet to upgrade to a PCI 4.0 ready setup, then the Crucial P3 is more or less the next best thing. If you've yet to upgrade to a PCI 4.0 ready setup, then the Crucial P3 is more or less the next best thing. Number 4. Samsung 870 EVO. The best SATA SSD for gaming. When it comes to buying an SSD for gaming, a lot of people still opt for a 2.5-inch SATA drive rather than a super fast NVMe SSD, if only because the latter tend to be quite expensive and you need a motherboard that supports them. For SATA SSD hunters, then the Samsung 870 EVO is hands down the best drive for the job right now. Its everyday speeds aren't that much faster than its predecessor, the 860 EVO, but with that drive becoming increasingly difficult to get hold of, the 870 EVO is now our SATA SSD of choice for those. In fairness, Crucial's MX500 is another good budget option for SATA buyers, but when prices for the 870 EVO are only a fraction more these days, there's little point opting for the MX500 unless you can find it for a substantial discount. What's more, the 870 EVO also comes with a much higher endurance rating than the MX500, 300 terabytes written TBW, for the 500 gigabytes model, as opposed to just 180 TBW on the 500 gigabytes MX500. It's fast, durable, and yet to be beaten on overall value. The fastest SATA drive you can buy today. Number 3. Crucial T500. The best high-end PCI 4.0 NVMe SSD for gaming. When there's enough cash in your pocket for a proper top-class SSD upgrade, you've got two options. The first is to go all the way with a PCI 5.0 drive, but although these advertise some truly ferocious read/write speeds, these advantages don't really translate into better games performance. The other, smarter, cheaper, better option is a PCI 4.0 model that pushes the interface's limitations, an excellent example being the Crucial T500. In most of our benchmarks, this was even faster than the WD Black SN850X. The AS SSD 4K transfer test, for instance, had the T500 score a 90 megabytes/ read speed, soaring over the SN850X's 57 megabytes/. It also completed the game file copying test in 0.34s, a new record that easily beats the 0.86 of the SN850X and the 0.97s of the Samsung 990 Pro. Speaking of Samsung's prestige SSD, the T500 also managed to match its Shadow of the Tomb Raider loading time of 6.6, the only drive I've tested, including the PCI 5.0 based Crucial T700, to do so. Since the T500 also posts consistently higher read speeds than the 990 Pro, in practical terms you can consider it the new fastest gaming SSD around. It would be the best outright, in fact, were it not for the SN850X's lower pricing. Number 2. Lexar NM790, the best cheap PCI 4.0 SSD for gaming. One good reason to hold off upgrading to PCI 5.0 is the recent emergence of cheap PCI 4.0 SSDs. These are perfect for outspeeding older drives without burning through budget that could go elsewhere on your PC build, and there are several tasty options. My current pick of these is the Lexar NM790, which is indeed affordable while delivering performance close to that of high-end PCI 4.0 models like the WD Black SN850X. I tested the 1 TB capacity, which claims lofty 7,400 megabytes / read speeds and 6,500 megabytes / write speeds. It only reached that level of core-blindy quickness in largely academic sequential file transfer benchmarks, but was extremely impressive in Crystal Diskmark's 4K random tests, averaging 3,499 megabytes / reads and a 3,117 megabytes / writes. Number 1. WD Black SN850X, the best PCI 4.0 NVMe SSD for gaming. That little X makes the WD Black SN850X look like a mere refresh of the Black SN850, but it's more of a wide-reaching overhaul than it appears, with higher sequential read / write speeds, faster IOPS, input / output performance, controller improvements, and even a new 4 TB model. Samsung 990 Pro and the Crucial T500 below able to catch it. Taking only 6.7 seconds to load a Shadow of the Tomb Raider save, it shaves nearly 3 seconds off the Black SN850's time, and clearly beats other premium PCI 4.0 SSDs like the Kingston Fury Renegade, 9.6 seconds, and PNY XLR 8CS 3140, 7.3 seconds. In the Crystal Diskmark benchmark, it's 3,187 megabytes / random read speed and 4,261 megabytes / random write speed results show an outstanding suitability for games and general PC usage alike. It's a shame there's no longer a cheaper 500 gigabytes option, as there was for the Black SN850, but the 1 TB and 2 TB models are at least less expensive than the 990 Pro and T500 equivalents, by wide enough margins, too, that it keeps the PCI 4.0 top spot, despite the T500 in particular outpacing it.